On, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Progressive Action TV show. You know what's crazy? Some people be saying, Tramel, why you always do the claps and make it seem cartoonish? Let me tell y'all this. When you used to watch Martin, when you used to watch Seinfeld, when you used to watch all these TV show sitcoms, do you think those claps was real? You really think they had a studio audience in there all the time? Did you think those claps is real? Man, get used to my claps again. Now, if you're watching this live, you guys already know it's very important to share out the show. And the reason I say that is because we are doing an excellent job of sharing out this information, getting the public involved. The media is getting involved, and our stories is getting out there. And our stories are totally different from what the MTA be telling out there in the media. And it's even different than what the union be saying out there in the media, because even during these critical times of transit workers and essential workers as a whole, our union is very silent. And I don't get it, and I don't understand it, or whatever the case is. But it's important that you guys share out the show. And this is gonna be a show. This is our regular show that we doing, and then later on, we're going to have Edwin Raymond, Emmy Award winner for Crime and Punishment, and we're going to have our own doctor. We have our own recurring doctor on the Progressive Action TV show, and that's actually going to be done on Zoom. And if you're interested on sitting in on a Zoom meeting, it's going to be a private meeting. If you want the password, you could DM me via Facebook and let me know that you want to join. Let me share out the show myself. I can't be a hypocrite. Gotta share it out myself. This information, getting the pump. Oh, there you go. Hold on. Let me do it. Let me share it out one more time. You guys should be sharing it out with me. Share it out with me. If you're watching right now, you're on Twitter, retweet it. If you're on YouTube watching live right now, share it out. Take the link, share it out. If you're on Facebook, share it out to every group. Share it out. Start a watch party somewhere on your regular page, whatever. Share it out. I still got some more sharing to do. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm good. Teamwork make the dream work, man. Share out the show. Let's get it going. So it's very rare that I do back-to-back shows. And the reason I decided to do a back-to-back show today was because of something that Cuomo said. We also had a major loss in New York City Transit, and I want to talk about that and the issues surrounding that. So, the first thing we're going to touch on is our brother Ben Shafer, and Ben Shafer, a conductor and also the vice chair of conductors for Local 100. Shafer was a good guy, man, and he was hands-on, involved in union issues. He knew his stuff, and he was there for the members. He didn't pick sides. It wasn't about politics with him. He always had a smile on his face. I did a lot of communicating with him. Whenever I seen him at work, I seen him at work a lot. And he was on a ventilator, I believe, for probably over a week. And he died yesterday. And, it's troubling once again to lose any coworker, but to lose someone who you spoke to every time you seen them, and the vibes and the energy was always good. We didn't always agree on things, but we was always respectful of one another. Always greeted me with a smile. We joked with each other. But these times are very troubling for us transit workers. And I guarantee you. See, a lot of people don't know Shafer was connected politically. He had political connections, and he was hands on politically. So he didn't have a cell phone. Shafer never had a cell phone, and so in order for you to really communicate with him, he had to be in your face, and that's what he did a lot of work in his community with politicians and others in his community, and his connections and the unfortunate passing of our union brother, I believe will bring about change of how we are going to be treated moving forward. I don't think that the union, if they didn't want someone to pass, it was him, because now they will probably be exposed for the lack of what they have done during this whole pandemic. And if you really pay attention, we had over 100 workers died. A lot of workers was on ventilators fighting for their lives. The union only did a convalescent plasma drive for our brother Shafer. And my question is, were the other workers worthy of that type of promotion so they could live also? It was only done for brother Shafer. Now, we're not going to let Local 100 escape what they have done, or the lack of what they have done regarding this whole pandemic with anyone. Us at Progressive Action, we don't play favorites. We fight for everyone. We don't say, "Oh, you a part of this crew," or you roll with this person, or your nationality is this, your religion is this. We don't do that. But it's obvious that the union do. And we seeing it plain and clear, especially these last couple of years regarding this union leadership and what they decide to defend and what they don't decide to defend. And it has become very troubling for me, because I know my history. I know what I see. I know what's going on. And it's disturbing. And we have to change that. And we got to hold those accountable for their actions or lack thereof. But with that being said, RIP to our brother Ben Shafer. You will be missed. The members will miss you. You did an excellent job out here with the members. And RIP and condolences to your friends, your family, and your community and things of that nature. So we like to give you a RIP. So today, Governor Cuomo gave a press conference about some issues. And it's very important that we start picking apart what he's saying in these press conferences, because for some reason, Cuomo is a god out here right now. And I don't understand it. Once again, if New York State was its own country, we will be number 6 in New York State, and number 6 in the world in deaths if New York State was its own country. That's not a sign of success to me. Transit workers, a agency he is directly in control of, have the most deaths out of any agency in New York, period. Any one agency out of New York, period. And you guys are putting the cape on him and want him to run for president. I don't think that he would have did a better job than Trump. I think the results probably would have been the same. The death rate here is astronomical in New York, and we praising Cuomo. I don't get that. I don't get that at all. So let's get into this Cuomo clip real quick, and let's discuss it, because it's very important, the things that he's saying and getting away with.
We want to find out exactly what's going on. They compare to a downstate average of the general population of about 18%. And again, we'll do further research, further surveys to look at it by race and gender also. We're also going to do the same thing with the transit workers, the people who drive the buses, the subways, who clean the buses and the subways, Without those buses and subways, the essential workers couldn't get to work. Why didn't we just close down subways and buses? Because you close down the subways and the buses in New York City. Don't expect the nurses and the doctors to be able to get to the hospital. Don't expect a delivery worker to be able to deliver food when you ring on your telephone. So we need that public transportation to transport the essential workers. But those frontline workers are at risk. So we're going to do additional testing for the transport workers. I also commented yesterday, the Daily News had pictures of things that are going on in the New York City subway system, where the cars were filthy, they were disgusting, homeless people were there with all their belongings, and it was not just the Daily News picture. It reflected what has been in the press and what people have been saying, which is the deterioration of the conditions in the subways. Some crimes are up in the subways, even though ridership is down 90%. I don't even know how mathematically that is possible. The trains are filled with homeless people, and you're not doing the homeless any favor. I've worked with the homeless all my life. To let homeless people stay on the trains in the middle of a global health pandemic with no masks, no protective equipment, you're not helping the homeless. Letting them endanger their own life and endanger the lives of others is not helping anyone. So I told the MTA yesterday, in 2 days, which means tomorrow, I want a full plan. How do we disinfect every train every night? Period. Any essential worker who shows up and gets on a train should know that that train was disinfected the night before. We want them to show up. We don't want them to stay home. We owe it to them to be able to say, the train you ride, the bus you ride, has been disinfected and is clean. Also, state and local funding from Washington is essential. This is now turning into a
get the fuck out of here!
Cuomo and his BS. Like I said, if you just tuning into the show, it's very important that you guys share this out, because the regular public may not know what's going on. We probably have a lot of coworkers that don't know what's going on. So we have to point out Cuomo BS. It's very important. Please share out the video. So we're gonna break down some points of what Cuomo was talking about during this whole entire news conference. And this is the first clip. We go get into the next clip after I explain this. So he said he started testing with FDNY and NYPD first. So he once again, he started testing with FDNY and NYPD first. Why do you guys think that is? Why do you guys think that is? I don't have to say it. I want you guys to probably write it in the comments. And after I would probably like the comments. But why do you think that Cuomo said we're going to start with NYPD and FDNY first? I mean, it don't make no sense. Why didn't he start with the agency that got the most positive workers who tested positive for COVID-19? And why didn't he start with the agency who also have the most deaths in the whole New York state? Why didn't he do that? And it's simple. It's because of the makeup, the demographics, the racial makeup of New York City transit. The testing should have begun. It should have begun with us, for the simple fact because of our numbers regarding COVID, the death numbers, the quarantine numbers, and the positive numbers. That is reason alone to start with New York City Transit. The reason why he didn't want to do it, because it's simple. Most of the people in New York City Transit don't look like him. But in the NYPD, and definitely the FDNY, he could relate to them. This is plain as day. He could relate to them. And another reason why he's not interested and doing testing, especially too much testing for transit employees, or what I like to call it controlled testing. So if you watch that clip of what he was talking about, he was saying we're going to do 1,000 MTA workers, but you didn't see that for NYPD or FDNY. And the reason why he want to have this control testing of MTA employees is for the simple fact that he wants to control employee availability. They don't care about us transit workers, especially us New York City transit workers. Cuomo don't care. The union, Samuelson and Utano don't care. Foy and Feinberg don't care. They don't care. The only thing they care about is employee availability. This is the reason why they rescinded the 5-day work rule. Our 5-day sick work rule just got rescinded back to its regular form April 25th. In the middle of a pandemic, right? Why did they not give us the federal benefit and then named us emergency responders? To help employee availability, to get us to work. They feel, look, come to work. If you die, don't worry about it. $500,000 will go to your family, but I need you to come to work, move these trains, move these buses, sweep that platform, collect the money. They ain't not even collecting money in stations no more, but just come to work. If you die, we're going to pay your family $500,000. And it's clear as day. It's clear as day with this controlled testing. And the reason why they want to do a controlled testing is for the simple fact that if they allow transit workers to go whenever they want to go get tested, then they can't control how many people is quarantined. So if someone go that's asymptomatic, don't got no symptoms, go and get tested, they got to be quarantined. I came back positive, I got to be quarantined. So they want to control those quarantine numbers, and controlling those quarantine numbers, let them have say in employee availability. And that's what it's all about with them. He also said he want the trains disinfected daily, every train, every night. So that also means that in order for him to accomplish that, because he told the MTA, hey, look, Foy, Feinberg, you guys figure this out. Give me the plan and I will get the plan going. Just tell me what you need and I'm going to get the plan going. So to me, that means bringing on contractors to the job. To be quite honest with you right now, I don't mind that, for the simple fact that it's a lot of us out sick. The trains are not getting cleaned the way they're supposed to. But there needs to be certain protections in place. These contractors can't come to a station like 96th Street and bump out the cleaners who have picked jobs there, because at the end of the day, it violates seniority. Seniority is everything for us on this job. Everything for us on this job. So I don't want to see these contractors affecting us, the members, our brothers and sisters. If it does that, then it's a no-go for me. The MTA need to find a way how to make all of this work and without the union brothers and sisters being affected in any way. And he also said, what is the alternative? Essential workers go to work, by the way, may get infected with the coronavirus on a train on the way to work. That's realistic. I'm not going to do that. So what about the emergency responders, the essential workers who is actually moving this equipment? Didn't we get affected by the coronavirus? Don't we have a high amount of deaths here? Why aren't you taking real action to protect us transit workers? The only thing I see is oppression and lip service. The controlled testing. He didn't test us first. He tested NYPD and FDNY first. I have no idea why he did that. No idea why, but he tested them first, and I feel that was uncalled for. And you know what? In Cuomo voice,
The facts, so just the facts.
It's the facts. I'm just telling you guys the facts. He liked the facts, like he said. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Not everyone is entitled to the facts. The facts is Cuomo look at the demographics of New York City Transit. He understands it. He's intelligent. That's why he's treating us the way that he's treating us. There's a historical content and element to this on America alone, on when there's minority, majority, a section of anything is mostly people of color. We get treated way worse than another section without people of color. This is historical facts. Now, let me see. Let's see what's going on here. Let's get into Cuomo next clip. Let's get into his next clip, and then we're going to touch on a few more things after that.
And a little bit less of the partisanship and the ugliness, and this country would be a better place. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Questions, Bernadette?
Regarding the MTA and cleaning, you want it done on a 24-hour basis. How will this be done?
I didn't say on a 24-hour basis, Bernadette. I said when people get into the train in the morning, they had to know that that train was disinfected the night before.
So what time will this happen, and will it impact service?
I don't know. I told the MTA, give me a plan whereby you will clean and disinfect every train every night, so that I can say to the essential workers who are killing themselves for our state, we are keeping the subways open for you, and when you get on the subway in the morning or in the afternoon, know that that car was disinfected the night before.
How realistic is this, and is there money for that?
It's realistic. It's an essential. How realistic is it? What is the alternative? Essential workers go to work. By the way, you may get infected with the coronavirus on the train on the way to work. That's not realistic. I'm not going to do that.
How come this hasn't been done prior? I mean,
We have been starting. It is a tremendous undertaking that has never been done before. And you're going to have to get homeless people into shelters where they can get housing and the services they need. So that's a second operation. And the MTA has been going back and forth with the NYPD about this for weeks and weeks and weeks. The MTA hired private security guards to help. But all a private security guard can do is call 311, which is the city hotline, which then has them call the NYPD, who are there in the first place. So the MTA's story is they're at their wits' end. But what I said is, look, I don't care. I don't care who's to blame. I don't want to point fingers. I don't care. I'm at a place where I'm dealing with people losing their lives every day, okay? I just want to get it done, and I will get it done. Just tell me what I need to do to get it done. Let's start telling the truth. Let's stop with this filters and everyone covering their own rear end, and people skewing facts to cover their own rear end. And let's start telling the truth, the blunt truth. And if it makes some people unhappy, that's the way it's going to be. But it has to stop. The trains have to be clean. The homeless need the services that they need. And we have to be able to do it as a society. We have to. Tell me what it takes to clean the trains and disinfect the trains, so I know that I can say to the essential workers, it's safe to go on those trains.
You don't think it should be on a 24-hour basis? Because right now they do a 72-hour cleaning and then other high-touch areas.
I'm not going to do a cleaning schedule. I don't do that. I told them, give me a plan as to how to make sure every train is cleaned so that when the train comes in the morning, it is cleaned. It's their job to figure out the schedule and how they do it. But however it has to be done, I will do whatever I have to do to make that happen. You can't be in a position where you say, we're going to send a plain tribute to the nurses, And we're going to applaud the nurses at Elmhurst Hospital. And yesterday I got out of my car and I applauded the nurses in Syracuse and the doctors in Syracuse. And I said, on behalf of every New Yorker, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you did. On behalf of every New Yorker. I believe that. But then at the same time, if that's what you believe, well then help them. And you know that they're getting on the subways to go to work. Make sure the subways are clean.
What should be done with homeless people? 'Cause
Homeless
right now-
people should be in shelter. Look, I've been working on the homeless issue. Bernadette, I've been working on the homeless issue since I was 20-something years old. I did the first plan for Mayor David Dinkins on how to help the homeless in New York City. Mayor Dinkins accepted it. Next mayor was Rudy Giuliani. He came in, he accepted it. We made tremendous progress on the homeless. I then went to Washington. I did a homeless plan for Bill Clinton, for the nation on how to help the homeless. He accepted it. We implemented it. It made tremendous progress. It was called the Continuum of Care. This federal government still is operating the program. We have done this before. This is a false choice. Well, the homeless are on the trains. They have a right to be on the train. No one wants to live their lives on a subway train. And we have a higher obligation as a society than to say, okay, you can sleep in a subway car. No, you deserve a shelter that is safe and services if you need them to help you improve your life. That's what we should offer, and that's what we will. Jimmy?
We've got more problems with nursing homes, more infections, more deaths. Is the state at any point going to take action to set up?
Shout out to Cuomo for not knowing what he's talking about again. And let's talk about a few things in that clip because it's mind-boggling. So he want these trains disinfected basically once a day. How is that going to get done? Is he calling in the National Guard to get that done? Because there's no way possible that he could disinfect every train on the road once a day. That cannot happen. And he told the MTA, you guys need to make a plan, this plan that he's talking about. So the people who he want to make a plan is Pat Foy, Sarah Feinberg, Mario Polokin, Sally Labrera. These are people who don't have no transit experience. So what plan or who are they going to be leaning on to make a plan? The other guys, Greenblatt, Barry Greenblatt, vice president of the subways, Paul McPhee, who else you have? The Actos maybe. And with the exception of Greenblatt, I think that Greenblatt is a human being. Those other guys, the only thing they are good at is disciplining. And that's for all of them, McPhee and the Actos. Anything outside of discipline, they are lost. They don't understand. In fact, the Actos are the ones who put us in this predicament in the first place by not managing what was going on in the field. In fact, when I put in my safety rule dispute resolution form, it was Hinchke that was there who said it was safe for me to enter my train without the proper PPE and without it being clean, right? So these Actos don't care. The only thing these Actos care about is discipline. Anything outside of discipline, they are lost. This is without a doubt. They are lost. Now let's discuss this homeless situation. Because Cuomo's answer to the homeless is get them in shelters. That's his response. Get them in shelters. And I believe that the term homeless is too broad. It's too broad because when you deal with the homeless population, It's just not people without homes. You have people with mental health issues, a plethora, a wide variety of mental health issues, not just one, a wide range of mental health issues. So think about this. Like he said, let's get them off the train. Let's put them in a shelter, and then let's get them the services they need. Why do you think that the homeless don't want to be in the shelters? Because not all homeless have mental health issues. So you're putting a big melting pot of homeless people together, some with mental health issues, some with not. And when someone is emotionally disturbed, they have the ability to hurt themselves, hurt others, and do a whole bunch of other weird things, right? So you're asking a regular homeless person, someone who may have lost their house, to now go into the shelter with an EDP, someone with mental health issues, to possibly get hurt, killed, assaulted, whatever the case may be. This is what they asking. So only thing Cuomo care about is get the homeless out of the subway, put them in a shelter, then we're going to get you the help you need. That's not how it should work. Because you want to know why? Why so many homeless people do not want to go in the shelters is because of that reason. You're mixing this whole homeless population up and mixing them up, and you putting regular, sane homeless people, because not all homeless people are EDPs. You have a lot of intelligent homeless out there. You know how many homeless people I see out there drawing, reading books, and all of this stuff? You think that they want to sit in a shelter because they fell on hard times and lost their home because of the economic climate or whatever the case may be? You think it's fair for them to go sit inside a dormitory type atmosphere with someone who may kill them? This is why they would rather be on a train. So the first thing that they need to do with this whole homeless situation is figure out, stop making it a revolving door. You take them to the shelter, they come right back to the subways. So there's something wrong with the shelter system. And one thing that's wrong is that you have politicians like Cuomo saying, just remove the homeless. We don't care if they have mental illness or not. Put them in a shelter and let them fend for themselves and figure it out. This is the problem with the homeless situation. And now, and even the ones who do get services, are those services helpful? We don't know, right? And you can't force for the people who have mental health issues and they need medication, you can't force people to take medicine. And on top of that, you can't force anyone to actually go to a shelter. And you can't really keep the homeless out of the system unless you have a police officer or someone at every entrance in the system. You can't really kick them out. There's nothing that you can really do. And then what if a homeless person really want to spend a fare to come into the subway? What do you do then? So there's a lot of things that going on, a lot of moving parts, but they are going about it wrong. The thing is to get the homeless out of the system and try not to have them return off their own volition, because they finally getting the services they need. If they need to be in a shelter, then put them in a shelter, separate them. The people who have mental health issues than the people who don't have mental health issues. There's things that can be done that need to be done, but they not doing it. Like I said, Cuomo whole situation is remove them from the shelters. Remove them from the subways and put them in the shelters. He said that himself. I just played the clip.
The facts, so just the facts.
The goal should be, get the homeless the proper help. Meet them at the point of contact. So if you're meeting them on a subway, ask them questions, assess them, have someone who's a professional in these mental health fields, someone who's professional in identifying certain things where they could be like, all right, this person is homeless. We don't see no mental health issues that's visible. So maybe they could go straight to a homeless shelter. Or if you see someone with mental health issues then maybe you direct them somewhere else where they issues from the point of you contacting them to wherever you want them to go or wherever you take them, that they will get the help right there on contact, and the rehabbing could start from right there. They not doing that there. And there's a reason why they are not doing it. There's a reason for that. And one of the reasons for that is, once again, the racial makeup of the homeless population. And let's talk, first of all, let's get into this. Let's look at the stats of New York as a whole. There's 63% white. There's 15% African American. There's 8% basically other. All right, so basically most of New York is Caucasian, 63%, 15% black. Keep those numbers in mind. Now let's look at the homeless numbers. If you look at what I have circled, and I'm going to get out the way real quick. If you look at what I have circled, it says Black and Hispanic Latino New Yorkers are affected by homelessness. Hold on. Approximately 57% of heads of households and shelters are black. 57%. Now think about this. There's 15% blacks in New York, and there's 63% something like that of Caucasians. But 57% of heads of households and shelters are black. 32% are Hispanic Latino. Only 7% are white. So look at those numbers. There's 15% black in New York. But when it comes to the homelessness, 57% are black. Did I say that right? When it comes to New York, 15% of black New Yorkers, there's 15% black New Yorkers, but 57% of blacks are in shelters and homeless. That number is pretty alarming. And when you look at those numbers, once again, look at those numbers. Why you think that they don't care about the homeless situation? They pushing it on this person, pushing it on that person. They pointing fingers. You want to know why they don't care? Because most of the people who's being affected do not look like them. Once again, they do not look. You think Cuomo don't care because he knows these stats? If I'm able to figure out these stats, by the way, it's from 2020 this year. If I'm able to figure out these stats and find these stats, there is a reason why they do not care about the homelessness in this city. That's the reason why. Cuomo could fix this. He could fix this. He's the governor. How many times has he overruled de Blasio? When de Blasio said we're going to close the schools, Cuomo came and did a press conference ASAP and said, well, that's de Blasio opinion. I'm in control of the schools. Cuomo is in control of a lot and he can do more. But the reason why he doesn't care as a governor is because the people don't look like him. These are facts. These are facts. Like I said, his answer to it, just take them off the subway, throw them in a shelter, because they don't look like him. That's how it works. If it doesn't affect them or their people, this is how covert racists, they react to certain things. We act like we care. We're going to do the bare minimum. When they start to care, they do the bare minimum. They doing the bare minimum. Yeah, we just go throw them off the subways, throw them in a shelter, put the people who have mental health issues together with the people who don't have mental health issues, because the homeless, we don't care, because most of the homeless in New York anyway are people of color. So we don't care. And that's what it's about. That's what it's about. And when you look at all of them as a whole, right? You look at the actions of Cuomo, you look at the actions of Pat Ford, you look at the actions of Sarah Feinberg, you look at the actions of Tony Utano, you look at the actions of John Samuelson. Look at their actions. Look at their actions and see what's going on. And I'm gonna bring this up just to refresh you guys. How many of you guys remember when our brother Denard Jenkins got viciously stabbed in the Bronx? How many of us remember that? How many of us remember Utano coming to his aid after he almost lost his life. How many of us remember that? It didn't happen. No press conference, no doctor's visit, no nothing. One of Utano members almost get killed. And he said, I'm spending Easter with my family. Still, no press conference, no doctor's visit, because Brother Jenkins didn't almost lose his life and leave the hospital that same day. He was in the hospital for a few days. Why didn't Utano come visit him? You want to know why? Because deep down, Utano don't see him and Brother Jenkins simply because he's black. Forget about how many black friends they may have or the black people that they do business with. You see it in their actions. Comparable actions. So let's show you the next picture. How many of you guys remember this? How many of you guys remember when the train operator got punched in the face and Utano jumped out of his seat? We need to do a press conference. We need to take action. The assaults need to stop. How many people remember that? Why did Utano run to our sister side but didn't run our Brother Jenkins side? Why didn't he? Can't you see what's going on here? Can't we see what's going on here? Brother Jenkins almost lost his life. She got punched in the face. They both wrong. I'm not trying to weigh what's wrong and what's right. But what I'm trying to show you guys is that when they see someone who look like could be their daughter, their wife, their aunt, their sister, their cousin, they react different. Why did Utano do a press conference for her and didn't do a press conference for Brother Jenkins? Why? It's all because of race. This is how covert racists react to certain situations. Wouldn't it make sense to have the most egregious assault with you there? No. Because to him, this was the worst thing that could have happened, because in his mind, you look at her. In his mind, wow, that could have been my daughter. That could have been my wife. That could have been my sister. That could have been a family member of mine. But when he look at Brother Jenkins, and I'm going to put his picture back up. When you look at Brother Jenkins, there wasn't no support. There wasn't no Utano, because Utano can't see himself in the black man. Cuomo can't see himself in the black man. Pat Foy can't see himself in the black man. Sarah Feinberg can't see herself in a black man or a black woman. They just can't. They just not built like that. And not all Caucasians is like that. But these specific set of Caucasians that we're dealing with, they are like that. They all have the same ideology. They all support each other. And they all, if you notice, they all attack de Blasio. Now, de Blasio is not innocent out of all of this. But, and women, because Sarah Feinberg started pointing fingers at de Blasio too. Could it be because he sold out in their eyes and got a black wife, got a black son, got a black children? Could it be because of that? Think about it. Why do they attack him so much? I don't remember these attacks on Bloomberg. In fact, Cuomo just accepted Bloomberg with open arms. With open arms. Why do you think that is? Do not get fooled, and don't let them deter you and say, oh, you know, Trammell playing a race card. No, I'm not playing a race card. I'm pointing out how these guys are being covert racist. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. Like I said, he wasn't there for Brother Jenkins, but he was there when a train operator who looked like could be a family member of his, he was there for that press conference, invited all the news stations, got some workers there or whatever, and they did it for her. Why do you think that is? Like, we have to be smarter than that, because they pick and choose who they want to support, and they're picking and choosing begins with who do you look like, what's your race, and who you're connected to. That's how it works for them. The communications department is the same way. The biggest, the one guy in the communications department attacks me all day. Instead of attacking me, why isn't he doing a press conference regarding these deaths in New York City Transit? You want to know why he doesn't? He doesn't do it because he can't relate. When you go down the list and you look at the pictures of the people who died of COVID, these people don't look like them. Let's see what's going on here. I don't know what happened. I think it froze up for a second. But they do not care. They do not care what's going on. And we must pay attention to the real story, the real way that they're moving around here. We must pay attention to that. So let me see. Let me see, man. Like this is so upsetting. So I'm gonna say this. I said all of that just to say Cuomo response is not good enough. Simply not good enough. He want to get the homeless people out the subway. He want to throw them in shelters. The reason why he want to just do that and do the minimal action and don't care about how they contacted in the subway to see if they need mental health help or whatever is because the people don't look like him. There's more black homeless people in shelters and black homeless than any other race in New York. There's let me get that number again. Let me pull up the homeless stats again. There's 57% black homeless in shelters. There's only 15% black New Yorkers. So that should tell you the story right there. That should tell you the story right there. Let me see something. Yeah, that should tell you the story right there. So I don't get it. You know, I mean, I get it, but I don't get why you guys don't get it. I don't get why we not creating this conversation. And think about it. It took a global pandemic for them to create a conversation and figure out what to do with two things: the homelessness in New York in the subways and healthcare in New York with people of color. It took a global pandemic. So if this coronavirus wouldn't have never came, it would have been business as usual on the subways, because this homeless situation always been there for as long as I've been there. It's been there for as long as I've been there. The healthcare disparities in certain communities, they always been there for as long as I've been there. But it took a global pandemic for them to realize what was going on there. And just to give you guys a visual, of what's going on. Little visual. These are the faces of the people who are controlling our lives. These are the faces of them. These are the faces of the people who did little to nothing to protect us during this global pandemic. These are the faces. These are the faces of the people who don't care, besides giving us lip service, that we lost over 100 workers in New York City Transit. These are the faces of them. And then when you look at the demographics of the people who are losing their lives, when you look at the demographics of the homelessness, and then you look at these faces, you see why they don't care. These are the same people in the middle of a pandemic rolled back our sick policy back to normal, as if they got a vaccine, as if they got some medicine for us or whatever the case is for this coronavirus. These are those same people. Because once they put you need a doctor's note after 3 days. That means they ready to start implementing discipline again. These are the faces of the people who's doing that. And these are also the faces of the people who accepted it without a fight. Why? Because the people who are greatly affected, the most affected, do not look like them. This is what it comes down to at the end of the day when you're dealing with covert racists. Now, to all my white friends, if it don't apply, let it fly. It applies to these people on this screen. It applies to them. These are the same people who want to call us emergency responders, so we won't get the federal benefit to take care of our child if their school is closed, to take care of a loved one if they're sick. These are the faces of the people. Cuomo said it himself. Most of the essential workers are people of color. We are those essential workers. He know the racial aspect of this company. He don't care. These are the faces of the people who do not care about what's really going on with us. These are the faces of the people who went in front of the media and lied. They was getting mad since March 1st. Now, Patrick Warren, he deserves to be on there. Mario Polokin, he deserves to be on there. Sally Labrera, she deserved to be on there. They all look the same. They don't care because the people who's being affected do not look like them. We seen that with Utano. Once again, why Utano wasn't there for our brother Denard Jenkins? Why didn't he have a press conference for our brother Denard Jenkins? Why? He didn't have one because the person who was affected did not look like him. This is facts. These are the faces of the people who go all out to destroy our dignity, to destroy our pride. These are them. This is who they are. Cuomo is playing the ill mind game on the public. He ain't playing it on me because I know my history. We can look in the areas of where they don't care and then look at the racial makeup of the areas where they don't care. I guarantee you will find more people of color than any other racial demographic out there. I guarantee you. No real protection for assaults. We get paid the least out of New York, out of Long Island Railroad and Metro North. And like I said, I don't want to hear you guys say, "Oh, it's because they got to take federal testing. They have to do it." Man, that's BS. Why the cleaners over there get paid more than the cleaners over here if that's the case? Why is that? What are they cleaning over there that they not cleaning over here? Somebody tell me that. What are they cleaning? Can someone explain that to me? But I guarantee you look at the places where there's the most trouble, and you will see that there's a lot of black people, and you will see that these faces do not care. If 100 Long Island Railroad workers would have passed away, if 100 Metro North workers would have passed away, and these lists were flipped and reversed, I guarantee you there would have been more action, more swift action going on. This is an attack on people of color. Make no mistake about it. This is an attack on the working class, which encompass many races and nationalities, but mostly people of color. This is an attack on us. They do not care. Go back to what I said earlier in this show. Why did Cuomo test NYPD and FDNY first? What's the racial makeup of those companies? What's the racial makeup of New York, of NYPD? What's the racial makeup of FDNY? What's the racial makeup of it? Right? Mostly Caucasians. So we're going to take action. We're going to make sure that they're good. We're going to make sure, because most of the people that's there look like them. But when it came to New York City Transit, now we're going to start testing New York City Transit. This is the time to start testing New York City Transit after we took care of the people that look like us first. And then now we're going to test New York City Transit. We're only going to do about 1,000 because we want to do controlled testing, because we want to make sure that these trains and buses move. And we don't really care if they die, because we're going to give their family $500,000 anyway. When are we going to wake up? And once again, I'm not being racist. I'm racial or whatever. I'm just pointing out
the facts. So just the facts.
The facts are the facts. The facts are the facts. Now, once again, if you want to donate to the show, the Cash App is Progressive Action 100. If you want to donate versus via PayPal, it's Progressive Action. If you want to become a subscriber, you can look into the link of this video and subscribe via Patreon. But these are the facts, man. I just presented a whole show showing you numbers, and looking at those numbers, then you look at all these faces again. Look at the numbers, then look at those faces, and you see their reaction or how serious they take to how the demographics of certain things are and their reaction to it. Why they don't care about the homeless situation, because 57% of blacks head of households are homeless. Why they don't care about assaults, because the likelihood of a person of color being assaulted is far much greater than any other, than the people that look like them. Why didn't Utano do a press conference for our sister train operator, which is on the screen, but didn't do a press conference for Denard Jenkins, who almost lost his life after getting stabbed on the subway platform? Why didn't he do that? Didn't do it because these faces on the screen do not match the faces who's getting the brunt of all these negative things that's happening to us. Healthcare, socioeconomics. If you want to look at the company, the discipline disparity between Long Island Railroad and New York City Transit is crazy. For the same type of discipline they getting, that they committing, the same type of infraction they committing in Long Island Railroad, they getting reprimands. In New York City Transit, they PDSing you, pre-disciplinary suspension, and taking your pass. Why is that? We got the numbers to prove that. And like I said, they're only addressing this. It took a global pandemic for them to create this conversation to help people who look like me. They don't look like me, so they don't care. But it took a global pandemic for these people on the screen to even act like they want to care, to start to care. And then when they get in front of the media, they lying to us, they twisting, turning, and basically have no regard for us or our families, and even the ride in public for the most part. But that's today's show. I will be back at 7 o'clock. We will be with my brother Edwin Raymond, Emmy Award winner for Crime and Punishment. We will be back with Dr. Adebayo. And that's a high school classmate of mine. She's now a doctor. Congratulations to her. And we will be back during that time. I need you guys to please be safe. Don't pay attention to what they're saying in the media. This is our media. This is the truth. And to all my Caucasian friends out there, if it don't apply, let it fly. But you must understand. You must understand how collateral damage work. In order for them to get the majority of us, some of you guys are going to get caught too. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.